Hey guys, Tom here, the Diabetic Man, and I'm here with Jeff, my current boss
Oh no.
at Uhles, smoking allowed since 1939. Come and check us out, uhles.com. We're here today to talk about some of the possible deeming rights that are coming down from the FDA,
The deeming rights.
the deeming regulations. Yeah, not rights.
Yeah, there are no rights in this deal.
And I'm going to let Jeff introduce himself so you can learn a little bit more about him, what he does, and why he's qualified as anyone is to speak on this subject.
Okay. I'm Jeff Steinbock. I'm the owner of Uhles Tobacco in downtown Milwaukee. I've been in this business for 41 years. And currently I'm on the board of directors with the National Association of Tobacco Outlets, NATO. Currently I'm Vice President. So what we do at NATO is that we work to fight all tobacco legislation, whether it's the federal level, FDA, state levels, and even down to the local levels. We're instrumental in a number of things, like Heidelberg, California, just recently.
The signs, right? Where they said that you couldn't post any signs of any tobacco?
No, that was San Diego.
That was San Diego, okay.
And we won on that one. But Heidelberg recently enacted a age 21 in California, which ended up being against what they can do with the state. The state says 18, and no municipality has the power to change that.
All right. So they're trying to push it to 21 like alcohol.
Yeah.
But you can smoke weed at 18.
Probably. and this is kind of the strange thing that we're fighting. The antis come out there and say, well, alcohol's 21, tobacco should be 21, because if there's 18-year-olds in the high school and it gives the high schoolers access to tobacco. And Tom Bryant, our executive director, uses the statistics that the CDC comes up with. And, in the last 5 years, tobacco use among high school students has dropped from about 15% to, I believe it's 9.2. A substantial drop in 5 years.
A substantial drop.
And that's
than when I was in high school too. I would say probably a fourth of the kids had tried or been using.
Well, keep in mind, if you use a cigarette within a month's time, you're a cigarette smoker.
Okay.
But now this also includes the 18-year-olds who can legally use tobacco in high school. And we were thinking, well, they keep hitting us over the head with the age 21 deal. How many high school students use alcohol? And Tom went back to the CDC and found their statistics. It's over 34% at age 21.
And the age is 20, yeah.
So really, dropping or raising the age to 21 doesn't seem to help at all. In fact, it might make the situation worse. But so the anti's argument that it should be 21 really doesn't hold any water.
So you have the signage in San Diego, this 21 increase in
I think it was Heidelberg or something. It is a small community in California.
And are just small examples of what NATO, the National Association of Tobacco Outlets, what they do legally, how they fight against how they fight against tobacco and how it can impose upon our rights.
Right.
You guys fight against that on a governmental level.
And we are an organization that represents retailers.
All right. So representing retailers, it was about 2 years ago, and correct me wherever I'm wrong. I'm wrong often. Told that by my future wife. About 2 years ago,
we married.
We started hearing about the deeming rights, deeming regulations.
Yeah.
I apologize. Deeming regulations, meaning that if the FDA says X is a tobacco product, it is now by definition a tobacco product which can be taxed by their definition of tax.
Well, the deeming regulations really has nothing to do with taxation.
Okay.
there's a certain amount of what I refer to as extortion, where the tobacco industry has to pay in order to be regulated. Now, I believe the stats are in the last 5 years now, the FDA has been given control of tobacco since 2009, early 2009. And in a 5-year span, they've collected over $2.4 billion from the tobacco industry in order to.
2.4 bill?
Yeah.
Bill Clinton years?
Yeah.
Bill. All right.
That is their funding for controlling tobacco.
Wait,
Now,
okay.
they've
One more
also.
time. 2.4 billion just in order to be able to regulate and tax. So that's
Right.
before
Yeah,
regulation.
it's kind of like
taxes.
an extortion type thing.
Okay.
You know, their employees at the FDA have gone from 0 for tobacco regulation to over 500.
They have the money to do so.
That's a nice little industry. I'd love to see that industry come to our town. You know, they don't have to pay any taxes and 2.4 billion in revenue and 500 employees. That'd be a nice little group to come to your community.
Little cubicle job too, probably.
Yeah.
And now this deeming that started about 2 years ago about 2 years ago, is now, where is this at and what would this mean?
Well, there's basically 9 steps that the FDA has to go through in order to get the deeming regulations into effect. Releasing their final deeming regs to the OMB is step 8.
And that just happened last week?
On the 19th.
On the 19th
Mhm.
of October 2015.
Now, the problem with this is we don't know what they are.
Mm-hmm. We haven't seen them in over a year, correct?
Well, in 2014, yeah, they released their proposed deeming regs, and you had the comment period last summer, a year ago summer, and but what the final product looks like, we don't know.
We don't know.
However, there's some things that could happen on that, particularly with pipe tobacco. Keep in mind, pipe tobacco, in the grand scheme of the tobacco industry, is minuscule.
Mm-hmm.
It's less than
cigars,
1%.
cigarettes, and even hookah outweigh, correct?
Oh, yeah, I would imagine.
Oh, and e-cigarettes now have taken their place.
Chew is huge. Roll your own tobacco is huge. True pipe tobacco, intended only for a pipe,
mm-hmm.
It's very, very small.
We sell quite a bit, but that's not what makes us our money as an independent shop. We're making our money from the cigars and the cigarettes. And
Uhles does pretty well with pipe tobacco.
Mm-hmm.
But in the grand scheme of things, it's very, very small.
All right.
And last April at the NATO trade show, Mitch Zeller, who's the head of the FDA tobacco control group, was a guest at our show, and we had a seminar where he spoke. There were questions from the panel, and then it was turned over to the audience to ask questions to Mitch Zeller.
Mitch Zeller, how long did he speak?
Well, it was overall an hour program, and we had about 20 minutes of question and answer from the audience. And so I got to pose a question, and this is where it gets real scary. The question, I can't remember it for verbatim, but basically, Congress did not give the FDA the ability to discontinue any segment of the tobacco industry, mm-hmm. whether it's vape or whatever, or cigarettes or anything. And given that virtually all true pipe tobacco has some form of flavor. Now, if the FDA comes out with a flavor ban, which could happen.
Which was in the 2014 rough draft, right?
I believe it was. I'd have to go back and check that. But it's something that could happen. But however, if they come out with a flavor ban on pipe tobacco, true pipe tobacco, um, you'll pretty much eliminate an entire segment of the tobacco industry. So I said, how do you reconcile this with what Congress gave you the ability to do? And his response was pretty much, well, this is more of a legal question. He went on for a few minutes, and at the end, he kind of gave up and just said, huh, I guess they just have to sue us.
So that's what we're dealing with the deeming
There could be.
and the pliability.
Could
Well,
be.
the attitude we're dealing with.
The attitude, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where this gets a little scary. The clause where it goes back to February of 2007, any product introduced after 2007 has to go through substantial, how do they put that? So well, basically you have to submit an application to the FDA with content and so forth about the product.
And that's all tobaccos, whether it's
all tobacco.
chew,
vaping,
pipe,
which wasn't around prior to 2007.
maybe blues, those little sticks, maybe. 99% was not around.
Right.
And
so now the substantial equivalency, that's what I was looking for. The problem with that testing and submission, the application submission, it can run from the guesstimates, and that's all we have right now, our guesstimates, can run between $200,000 and $1 million per SKU.
So per application.
Per
SKU. So Uhles Christmas Blend 2011 is an aromatic that we came out with. We sell it in a pocket size, which is 1.5, a 7 ounce, and a 14 ounce.
Okay,
that's
now
3 SKUs.
That's 3 SKUs. Yes. All 3 would have to undergo the testing.
That's overwhelming.
Well, it's not overwhelming. It's just impossible.
Yeah.
It's but again, until we know what the final document looks like, we don't know.
We're guessing.
We're guessing at this point.
So you said there's 9 steps, and I read we're at step 8 right now.
Yeah, 8 has just been completed.
8 is the one that's
Number 9 is where they actually tell us what they're doing to us.
And okay, so let's assume that what we saw in April 2014, the language that was used, the rules that were used.
Yep.
Prior to the open hearing. If that ends up being what goes into effect, what can we expect? Not what's going to happen, because again, we don't know what's going to happen, but if it's similar to the language from 2014, the last document we were able to read, what can we expect? We as the consumers, or you as the retailer?
Well, the way I've read it is that, let's say, Uhles would have to go through substantial or equivalency testing or whatever they call it. You basically have 2 years to leave your product on the market. My concern is that people that supply us with the bulks are going to get out.
Because it would hold sway over like Stokkebye's out of the country.
Right.
So he ships internationally. They would be held to the same standards.
Mm-hmm.
So Stokkebye would just say, forget it. I'll just work with what's going on in Denmark and England, and he could say, forget it.
Well, it's not a bad guess.
Okay.
You look at quite a number of years ago, Dow Egberts pulled out of the U.S. market with Drum, with Amphora, and so forth. Why? They didn't want to deal with the Fed. And your European manufacturers, yeah, they're just going to say, well, we don't need the U.S. market. It's too much. You look at prior to the master settlement. Look at all the imported cigarettes we had. We had Silk Cut, Gilloise, Jeton, Sobranis. You don't see them anymore.
No.
They don't want to be in this country.
Yeah. And then one of the things I read, if this holds true, we have jars. We have 27 blends currently, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, we have 27 blends, and we have jars because whether you're a new smoker, whether you're an old pipe smoker, you wanna smell, you wanna touch, you wanna feel, because
you want to even
smoke
it.
taste it. Because let's say pipe smoking is about the whole experience.
Right.
No free samples.
Right.
Now, could we put a quarter jar out, or could we do that? Because I know there's a pipe shop down in Illinois that charges 50 cents per bowl. Could we do something like that, or would that not be, because it's not packaged?
It depends on how this deeming reg is, how it's worded.
So, but if there's no free samples, we're done with the jars upstairs. They're just decorative then.
Yeah.
We can no longer have them out.
It's a real possibility.
What else could we be expecting? It's very difficult when you're talking about something that hasn't been released yet, but we have speculation due to what 2014 showed us. What else could we be expecting, especially pipe smokers? This is a YouTube pipe community channel.
Okay.
So especially pipe smokers, what could we be expecting?
Worst case scenario, you wouldn't have any tobacco.
Because nothing with flavors.
Yeah, and nobody willing to supply.
Nobody willing to supply. Shops. And then best case scenario, just probably a massive increase in costs.
Best case scenario is that they leave
leave us alone.
Leave us alone, which I doubt is going to happen. And the problem I see is that the regulations are being done by people that have no concept of the industry.
Mm-hmm.
Now
they're treating it all like a cigarette.
Yeah, everything's a cigarette.
Okay.
And you look at even the international implications of regulating premium cigars. What's that going to do to the people that are working in Esteli, Nicaragua, or Honduras?
We just had Drew State here.
Yeah.
With Nicaragua, he said that the cigar companies in Esteli have built hospitals, schools, homes. They provide food.
Mm-hmm.
The cigar companies.
Oh, sure. Well, you look at it, just take Esteli, 55% of the people working in Esteli work in the tobacco industry.
35,000, I believe is what he said.
And now you remove that. Now, it isn't, you forget about the trickle-down effect, the people that sell bread or clothing or anything to these people that are working. You have massive unemployment.
All caused by treating everything like a cigarette and probably in the name of for the children.
For the children. Or yeah, that's always been their battle cry, is we have to protect the children. It's illegal to sell to anyone
the
under
children.
18.
We have to card like crazy. That was,
before
I got any information on cigars upstairs, before I was told to talk about my pipe knowledge, card is what I was taught when I got my job here.
That's another thing you're going to have to go through when these deeming regs come out, because one of the deeming regs is anyone under 27 has to be carded. And you walk in and here's John, 26 years old, and you know John because he's in every day. Every day he has to bring out his ID and show it to us, or we'll be violating FDA law.
It does take away the connection of why we come. I mean, I came here as a customer because I enjoyed you guys and our relationship.
You know, people will probably get used to that. I mean, people get used to the loss of rights after a while. They complain about it at first, but then it's just a matter of thing. Every time you walk into Uhles, you bring out your card and show them your card, and
go about your day.
Go about your day because the government says so.
So, all right. So we're at 8 of 9. We're guesstimating what we can expect. Is there anything we can do? I know that last year there was some hearing. We were able. I wrote I wrote my congressman. I sent emails. You as well as I think
Yeah.
Cigar Authority all gave us contacts to reach out to.
Right, right. And we can still put pressure on Congress. Uh, you know, contact your congressman and, tell them that these steaming rates are going to be, except we don't know what they are yet.
When they come out, and after NATO has had a good time discussing the regulations, would you be willing to come back and talk with me about now what we're seeing?
Oh, yeah.
Because when it comes out, we have 30 days, and then there's a.
Please, this reminds me, keep in mind that these are my viewpoints, not necessarily NATO's.
Okay. Jeff's not necessarily NATO's, but you're gleaning it from your.
Well, from my experience.
From your experiences in NATO. Okay. Anything you want to tell the YouTube pipe community at this point?
At this point, I'd just say stay tuned. It's going to be a crazy ride.
All right.
And let's hope for the best.
And anyone out
be
there? Be
prepared for the worst.
Hope for the best, be prepared for the worst. That's not a fun quote to put on a shirt or anything.
No.
And anyone who, there's some pipe carvers in the YouTube pipe community who want to start selling tobacco, they should hold off on that. At least for another 90 days.
I don't know that I would hold off. But be prepared, you might not be able to do it in 90 days. I wouldn't make a huge investment, but, I don't want to be the one to say, oh, don't pursue your passion.
All right. That's a better way to end. Don't let this regulation get in the way of you pursuing your passion.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. I enjoy working here and look forward to having you here, hopefully with good news.
Yeah. Well, we're going to work on that.
All right. Awesome. We'll see you guys later.